Part 95. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 941. The eldest heroine Wen Qiao finished breakfast and returned home. In Huihe Company, Hezawei was drinking whiskey early in the morning. On the TV wall of the huge office, the news that Lu Su was nominated for the Golden Plum Award was playing on a whole TV. Teresa came in with a golden tray with coffee and breakfast on it, and whispered, "Sir, drinking alcohol in the morning is not good for your health. Breakfast is prepared for you." Hezawei sipped a little whiskey from the bottom of the glass, pour another glass and add 2 ice cubes. Teresa took the wine glass, Dr. Walter warned. Hezawei glanced at him with cold and sinister eyes. Teresa shut her mouth and quickly poured half a glass of whiskey for him. "How is Gu Xiao doing today?" Teresa adjusted the big screen to Gu Xiao's video. Gu Xiao was still lying on the bed with the tube inserted in his body, lifeless. Hezawei waved his hand, and Teresa quickly turned off the screen. Dr. Walter said that everything is stable for the young master and there is hope that he will recover. "Then when will you wake up?" Teresa was silent, not daring to answer. Hezawei looked gloomy. "Okay, you can go out." Wen Qiao also practiced in a massage and acupuncture studio for a period of time. Master Su Jinming said to her, "You are very talented and you can start training." After all, it was Professor Su who personally instructed him, and coming to him was just a matter of hands-on practice. Wen Qiao looked at the silver needle in his hand. "Is it ready to start training now?" "Well, these days, the patients treated by you are recovering much faster than some of my disciples. Now you can even determine which acupuncture points to apply to acupuncture points faster and more accurately than I can. How dare you be the master of Professor Su's close disciples?" The next day Wen Qiao asked Fu Nanli to take him to Yuanyi's mansion. She couldn't wait to help the old lady treat her. The workaholic Mr. Fu rarely worked overtime, so he told his secretary Fiona, "There is still another meeting. Please let Mr. Ye take charge of it. I have something else to do." After saying that, he picked up the suit on the hanger and left the office. Ye Mingqiu in the chairman's office heard Fiona's report and threw down the pen in his hand. He was almost fuming with anger. "What? He's off work? Asking me to go to the meeting instead of him? What did he think? Where is his conscience? Let the old mother work overtime? Is he still interested?" Fiona showed a standard professional smile. "How about you call Mr. Fu to come back?" Ye Mingqiu called Fu Nanli angrily. Over there, Fu Nanli was already sitting in the car with Wen Qiao. He reached out and pulled the leader. "What instructions does Mr. Ye have? What have you been doing?" As soon as he finished asking this question, he heard Wen Qiao's voice coming from the other end of the phone. Mr. Ye got angry, slapped the table and said, "You go into love yourself and let me hold the meeting for you." "Fu Nanli, it's not about love, it's Wen Qiao who said she knows acupuncture and wants to give the old lady acupuncture, so she asked me to take her there." Ye Mingqiu choked. "Is it true? Wen Qiao knows acupuncture? How come I haven't heard of it? Many nationally famous old Chinese doctors have treated the old lady. This rheumatism is very difficult to cure. The child wants to try it, so I will take her to try it, just in case it really works." Ye Mingqiu pressed her eyebrows. "She can go if she goes, and you have to accompany her. You have bad intentions. The meeting just now happens to be the mid-year financial meeting. This meeting is not easy to hold. I suspect you are sneaking away on purpose. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me." Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 942. "Mr. Ye, don't be so mean-spirited. Okay, I'm almost at the mansion, so I won't say any more to you." Ye Mingqiu sighed. Fortunately that was her son and not her opponent. Otherwise, She really couldn't guarantee who would win or lose in this business war. The car was parked outside the mansion, and Fu Nanli saw another car in the yard with a license plate he didn't recognize. After getting off the car, the housekeeper from the mansion came out to greet him. Fu Nanli asked casually, "Who is here?" "Housekeeper, it's an old Chinese medicine doctor who often comes here to give massages to the old lady." Fu Nanli nodded, "Yeah. That person is a master in the field of Chinese medicine. Too many people have been treated by him. The old lady's rheumatism would have been much worse if he hadn't been visiting the doctor frequently. He is the Chinese medicine doctor that the old lady trusts the most." "What's your name?" Wen Qiao couldn't help but ask. "My name is Zhang Qianchu, Dr. Zhang." Wen Qiao didn't know much about famous people in the field of traditional Chinese medicine, so she sent a message to Su Jinming, her master of acupuncture, "Do you know Dr. Zhang Qianchu?" When Su Jinming received this news, he let out a sigh. This old Chinese medicine doctor's medical skills were pretty good, but when it came to acupuncture, he was not bragging. He was really not as good as him. After all, he was taught by Professor Su. Zhang Qianchu also wanted to visit Professor Su a few years ago. When he went to country M, Professor Su just turned away. Therefore, to a certain extent, Xiao Wen does not need to be shorter in front of Dr. Zhang. "I've heard that traditional Chinese medicine is good, but acupuncture may not be as good as yours." Wen Qiao shook her head gently. This Master Su was too boastful about Haikao. How long had she studied with her uncle? How could she compare to the famous old Chinese doctor? She and Fu Nanli entered the mansion. The old lady was sitting on the sofa. Dr. Zhang was putting a set of equipment into his small wooden box. "Today I will only give you a hot compress, old lady. This disease requires careful maintenance." "Old lady, thank you, Dr. Zhang." "You're welcome, I'll come over next week to give you acupuncture." The old lady raised her eyes and saw her grandson and granddaughter-in-law standing in the corridor, with a happy face full of smiles. "Qiao Qiao is here, come here quickly." Fu Nanli. Having a grandson-in-law and forgetting about the grandson? Doesn't he deserve to have a name after his grandmother? Wen Qiao was holding her acupuncture kit in her hand. Dr. Zhang Qianchu naturally recognized it as an acupuncture kit and asked tentatively, "Who is this? Could it be that you are here to steal business from him?" "It doesn't look like it, but it's too young, around 20 years old. There are not many young people studying Chinese medicine these days, and even if they do, they are only 20 years old. What kind of superficial knowledge can they learn?" The old lady took her hand and asked her to sit next to her. The doting in her tone was clearly visible. "This is my granddaughter-in-law." Zhang Qianchu was a little surprised. He was also the old lady's royal doctor. He had met this young master at the Fu family mansion before. He was a cold-hearted person, and he was actually in love. The two greeted each other. The old lady pointed to the bag in her hand. "Is this acupuncture?" Wen Qiao nodded. "Well, I learned acupuncture from an acupuncture master, and I wanted to come over and give you a try." Zhang Qianchu couldn't help but let out a chuckle. The little girl really doesn't know what the world is, and how can practicing medicine be such a trivial matter? If the treatment turns out to be good or bad, it will cost a human life. And the old lady's life is so precious. "Little girl, who did you learn this from?" "Wen Qiao, learned it from my uncle." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 943. Zhang Qianchu sneered in his heart, "Little uncle, who knows who your little uncle is? Also, grandma, have you ever heard of Su Jinming, the owner of Jinming Acupuncture Center in Haikan?" The old lady nodded. "I've heard of this. I heard that he's very good at needlework, and he's actually willing to teach you. Aren't you a kid who studies music? Fu Nanli rubbed her head. She is very smart and learns everything quickly. Zhang Qianchu, we should not take medical matters lightly. This is not just playing tricks. How could he not recognize Su Jinming? In the eyes of people like them who have graduated from medical universities, those who open acupuncture parlors on the roadside are charlatans, and charlatans whose deceptions are greater than their medical skills. Can you believe it? Unless you are poor and cannot afford a specialist clinic, you will go to the unfashionable restaurants on the roadside. Wen Qiao has already spread out her acupuncture bag. Grandma, can I take a look at it for you? I specifically asked my master to learn acupuncture. My master said that I can become a practitioner. There are also rheumatism patients who have been treated by me. A few, and they are all recovering slowly. The old lady barely hesitated and nodded directly. Okay, Grandma will let you treat it. She believed in her wholeheartedly. Wen Qiao's heart trembled, feeling touched and stressed. She breathed softly, then I'll wash my hands first. Fu Nanli, I'll go with you. Only Zhang Qianchu and the old lady were left in the living room. Dr. Zhang couldn't help but said, Old lady, acupuncture is really not child's play. What can a little girl learn at such a young age? Aren't you afraid that something will happen to her? He really doesn't like this wild approach. This old lady was born with dignity, so why didn't she care about her body at all? It's okay. That girl is cautious. She hasn't practiced to a certain level, so she won't try it on me easily. Zhang Qianchu said a lot more earnestly. But the old lady was stubborn and refused to listen to him. Just as Wen Qiao finished washing her hands and returned to the living room, Zhang Qianchu said in a deep voice, Miss Wen, can you come out with me for a moment? Wen Qiao was stunned for a moment, then walked out with Zhang Qianchu. At the door of the mansion, Zhang Qianchu said sternly, the old lady trusts you wholeheartedly because you are her granddaughter-in-law. Wen Qiao nodded, I know. But you can't take advantage of other people's trust in you and do whatever you want. Wen Qiao opened his lips, not knowing what to say. Traditional Chinese medicine is profound and profound. How long have you studied it? Wen Qiao, it's been a few months. Zhang Qianchu gritted his teeth, it's only been a few months and you've been out treating people. Is Chinese medicine a tool for you to show off? Dr. Zhang had an expression on his face that said, I really don't want to get along with people like you, and the existence of people like you will only tarnish the reputation of traditional Chinese medicine. Wen Qiao felt that this person was really a bit baffled. It seems that the management is too lenient, and there is a feeling of being too self-respecting. Wen Qiao said lazily, Dr. Zhang misunderstood. I just want to treat the old lady. I have no other purpose, so I won't say more to you. After speaking, Zhang Qianchu turned around and entered the house, regardless of Zhang Qianchu, who still had something to say. Zhang Qianchu chuckled softly. Since the old lady was unwilling to listen to him, she would suffer the consequences, so she couldn't blame him. Wen Qiao sat next to the old lady. She first performed syndrome differentiation and acupointment selection. If rheumatism is treated with acupuncture, it usually requires several courses of treatment, each lasting 7 days. Seeing everyone writing about small theater in the comment area makes me feel itchy, ha ha ha. When I have time, I will join you too. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 944. Wen Qiao asked the old lady to lie sideways on the large sofa, then gently rolled up a piece of clothing, disinfected the skin where the needle was to be inserted, identified the acupuncture points, and picked up a long needle. To activate blood circulation, remove addiction, reduce swelling and stagnation, take Gashu and Sui Hai, use acupuncture method to purge, select several local places, and use a 3-edged needle to prick the bleeding to purge the bad blood. She inserted the needle without any hesitation. She placed the needle very steadily and confidently. The place where she placed the needle was the Dachemsha point, and the needle went deep. Jiang Qianchu's gaze was like a falcon, staring at Wen Qiao, thinking that if she stabbed in the wrong place, he would immediately defeat her. In this way, his prestige in the old lady's heart will be higher. Who doesn't want the old lady's wholehearted trust? That was an old lady respected by both the Ye family and the Fu family. He also relied on the Ye family to accumulate many connections in Haikan. In his heart, he hoped that this ignorant little girl would make a mistake, so that he could show how powerful he was. But he kept staring and found that the little girl had no mistakes at all in identifying the acupuncture points, and was very accurate. There was no fault in the strength and depth of the needles. Wen Qiao applied acupuncture on several important acupuncture points of the old lady, and then said to the old lady, "The acupuncture will start in 30 minutes. You have to lie down like this all the time. If you feel any discomfort, please tell me." The cushion under the old lady was very soft, so it was not difficult to lie down like this. "I can feel it." You kid didn't hesitate at all when giving the injection. Wen Qiao smiled, "If you still hesitate, I won't be able to help you with treatment." How could she use the old lady as a guinea pig? The old lady nodded, "I really didn't expect that you would study Chinese medicine." Fu Nanli said at the right time, because she knew you had rheumatism, she specially found a famous teacher to learn it. The old lady was a little surprised, "Really? Fu Nanli, how could I lie to you?" The old lady shook Wen Qiao's hand and said, "You kid really means something." "Wen Qiao, do you feel uncomfortable in any way now?" "Old lady, no, everything is fine." Jiang Qianchu couldn't find anything wrong and felt sulky. Wen Qiao glanced at him and said, "Dr. Jiang, is there anything you would like to give me some advice on?" Jiang Qianchu choked, "There is nothing that needs improvement at the moment." Wen Qiao said politely, "Then I will assume that you approve of my medical skills." Jiang Qianchu chuckled softly, "It's just a fluke. Traditional Chinese medicine is very profound and profound. Little girl, you have only scratched the surface. You should be more modest." The old lady said, "Okay, Dr. Jiang, you are a senior after all. You should be happy to see someone to succeed you. This doctor's vision is a bit short-sighted and his approach is too small." She was always being aggressive and looked down upon her little Qiao, and she was really unhappy. Only then did Jiang Qianchu realize that he shouldn't say these words in front of the old lady, and he quickly put a smile on his face, "I'm just worried about the old lady's health. This is nothing to play with. If anything goes wrong, then..." The old lady lost her patience, "My body is my own, I don't have to worry about it." "Dr. Jiang, don't you need to worry about me like this?" Jiang Qianchu was shocked. What the old lady said was serious. It seemed that she was really unhappy. He quickly apologized, yes, I worry too much, Xiao Wen, don't take it to heart, I'm used to being strict." Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 945. Wen Qiao didn't embarrass him, I won't take it seriously. After all, our common wish is to cure grandma's rheumatism. The old lady looked a little proud, look at how grand her little Qiao is. Jiang Qianchu is already in his 50s, but he is not as transparent as a 20-year-old girl. He has really wasted his life. The old lady said again, "Okay, Dr. Jiang, I've worked hard for you today, so I won't let you have lunch." This is a clear sign of driving away guests. Jiang Qianchu was a little embarrassed, so he could only pick up his medical kit and said, "Then I'll show it to you next time." The old lady was not embarrassed on her face, "I will ask the housekeeper to inform you when the time comes." Jiang Qianchu left the mansion dripping with sweat. When 30 minutes were up, Wen Qiao took up the needles very cleanly and neatly. Fu Nanli's heart skipped a beat. She moved her hands so neatly without any hesitation that she finally collected all the needles. Fu Nanli also breathed a sigh of relief. If something goes wrong today, everyone in the Ye family will definitely hate this girl. An old house where a treasure. The old lady is the treasure of everyone in the Ye family. Wen Qiao put all the silver needles into the needle bag, wiped the old lady's skin where the needle was applied, and then said, "This time I only pricked the Da Changshu point. Next time, the Da Changshu and Zuzhenli points will be pricked. It will take more time, extended to 1 hour, and I will come to give you the acupuncture in 7 days." After saying that, he helped the old lady sit up. In order to encourage her, the old lady said, "I really think it has some effect." Fu Nanli chuckled, "Is the effect so immediate?" Old lady, really, Xiao Qiao's skills are amazing. Wen Qiao, thank you for trusting me. Old lady, of course I believe you. You are the one I trust the most now. Dozens of people in the Ye family fell out of favor in an instant. Wen Qiao was a little flattered and decided to go home and practice harder to free the old lady from the pain. The old lady stayed at the mansion for lunch and asked, "Nan Li's grandfather has a cerebral infarction and a bad heart. Have you learned anything about it?" Wen Qiao shook his head, "No." The old lady became even more proud for a moment. It was no wonder that she loved this child. The first thing that came to her mind was her, the old lady. She quickly picked up a piece of abalone and gave it to her. "It's airlifted from Canada. It's very fresh. Try it quickly." Wen Qiao said thank you to Grandma. Over there at the Fu family's mansion in Qianshui Lake, Qiu Ya came to chat with the old man again. Wen Qiao is becoming more and more popular now. She just won first place at the Jockey Club in Macau, and recently her company's film was nominated for the Golden Plum Award. These are all different fields, and they are in full bloom. Fortunately, the old man was still as enthusiastic about her as ever. There was a set of tea-making tools in front of her. She knew that the old man loved tea, so she went to learn how to make kung fu tea. Wash the cup, drink the tea, make the tea. After completing a set of skills, the old man also praised a few words. "You have good skills in this skill, have you ever learned it?" Qiu Ya smiled slightly and said, "I learned it from a master." The old man said, "You kid is really thoughtful." The old man was bored and turned on the TV. He happened to stop at the entertainment channel and saw reports that the movie All the Way was nominated for the Golden Plum Award. The old man didn't know much about the entertainment industry, but Uncle Lee was very discerning and immediately gave him some knowledge. "This movie is produced by Wen Qiao Company. I heard that the quality is very good. It was shortlisted for 4 Golden Plum Awards. The child seems to be very attentive to everything he does." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 946. Qiu Ya glanced at Uncle Lee, who really praised Wen Qiao at every opportunity. Has Grandpa Fu expressed interest in this? What a blind butler. Fu Huayong said expressionlessly, "I'm not interested in these things in the entertainment industry, so I'll change the channel." Uncle Lee quickly took the remote control. "I'm going to adjust the sports channel for you. It should be broadcasting a golf match." Qiu Ya quickly handed over a cup of tea. "Grandpa Fu, you can take me with you next time you play golf." Fu Huayong chuckled, "You can also play golf. I know a little bit, and I went and could be your caddy." Advertisements started to appear during the golf match on the sports channel. Uncle Lee couldn't help but said, "I heard that Xiao Wen went to Yuan's mansion today." Fu Huayong chuckled, "Little girl, I'm willing to please you on both sides." Qiu Ya pinched her fingers and said that she was too busy trying to please Mr. Fu, but ignored Fu Nanli's grandmother. I heard that when Fu Nanli went to study abroad, the old lady took care of him. He must have a closer relationship with the old lady. She couldn't afford to lose sight of the other. It must be easy for a lady like her who is also a violinist to please an old lady from a wealthy family. She believed that the old lady would hit it off with her. I also heard that Xiao Wen learned acupuncture and wanted to help the old lady treat rheumatism. And I heard that the effect of today's treatment is quite good. Fu Huiyang's face darkened. He was not in good health. He had cerebral infarction, high blood pressure, and his heart was not in good condition. Now that this girl has learned acupuncture, she only cares about pleasing Grandma Nanli and completely ignores him. He felt slighted. There was something unbalanced in my heart. Can learning medicine be accomplished overnight? Is the old lady really trusting her to treat her? Although he was unbalanced in his heart, he was still very tough talking. Uncle Li said, I don't know what the old lady was thinking. Anyway, I asked her to treat it. She said there was nothing wrong and the effect was pretty good. Fu Huiyang clicked his tongue. Okay, the game has begun, please stop saying a few words. Uncle Li smiled, yes, you watch TV, I'll go to the kitchen to prepare dinner. Fu Huiyang and Qiuya were the only ones left in the hall. Qiuya forced a smile on her face. Wen Qiao is really brave. I heard that it takes a long time to learn acupuncture to treat people. It doesn't take more than 3 to 5 years. How can I, being able to identify acupuncture points so accurately? After all, there are so many acupuncture points in the human body, and the slightest difference can make a huge difference. If it is not inserted properly, big things will happen. Who says it's not the case? The old lady is probably older. I think she is old and confused. Even though he said this, he still felt faintly unhappy in his heart. No matter what, everyone should be treated equally. That girl only wanted to please the old lady and hoped to get his approval. Dream. Qiuya could tell that the old man was not very happy, and she felt a little proud. Wen Qiao was a two-faced person. He only wanted to please the old lady but ignored the old man here. The old man would definitely dislike her even more. She quickly poured a cup of tea and handed it to the old man. Xiao Wen is biased in doing this. They are all Nanli's elders. She should treat everyone equally. She was obviously adding fuel to the fire. She was not afraid that the old man would not be angry, but she was afraid that the old man would not be angry enough. Fu Huiyang did not answer the conversation, but concentrated on watching the pictures on the TV. Qiuya was a little embarrassed and smiled. Uncle Li, who came out of the kitchen, snorted softly in his heart. This Miss Qiu really spared no effort to destroy Xiao Wen's image in the old man's heart. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 947. He walked aside and sent a message to his young master. The old man is not happy to know that Xiao Wen gave the old lady acupuncture. Fu Nanli received the text message over there and showed it to Wen Qiao. Wen Qiao held his chin and looked at him. What's wrong with your grandpa? The old lady was so kind to her. She couldn't bear the pain of the old lady and learned acupuncture to treat her illness. Is there anything worthy of criticism? Fu Nanli, because grandpa has a cerebral infarction, high blood pressure, and a bad heart. He probably thinks you don't have a bowl of water to drink. Wen Qiao raised his eyebrows slightly. The person with the real double standards is probably the old man. She always repays kindness with drops of water, but he looks down on her, and even belittles her with words. It's very positive to have benefits at the moment. My medical skills are shallow. I'm afraid the old man doesn't like me and doesn't dare to let me treat him. It's not like she didn't understand the old man's temperament, so how could her grandmother be so open-minded? If she took the initiative to offer treatment to the old man, the old man would definitely be extremely disgusted. She would not be comfortable with this. Fu Nanli touched her head. What you said makes sense. You don't need to take the initiative. Let's see the curative effect of grandma first. I'm afraid the old man will take the initiative to find you. Wen Qiao didn't expect such an arrogant old man to seek medical treatment from a wild Chinese medicine practitioner like her, who had become a monk by the way. The old man would definitely look down on her. 2 days later, Junling came back from Europe. As soon as he came back, he hurriedly came to Nanqiao Company to find Zhou Tao. In a small conference room, Zhou Tao took a cup of coffee and glanced at Junling. Junling's eyes were full of guilt. I'm sorry. It seems that those pictures on the set were taken by my fans and then released. In addition, when my fans threw paint at you, I also threw paint at you for them. Apologize, I will let my team restrain the fans in the future. Zhou Tao's hair was cut a little shorter. Her hair, which used to be very long, now only reaches her shoulders. Because red paint spilled on her hair and it was difficult to clean it off, she cut it off. She forced a smile and said, "It was a fan's behavior. I will not rise up to you. The matter has passed and my company handled it very well for me. Without a good company, a good PR team, and a boss who trusts her wholeheartedly, she may have been sprayed by netizens at this time." Junling said guiltily, "I'm really sorry. I'm also sorry that I was on the plane when you had an accident and couldn't help you clarify it immediately." Zhou Tao, "It's okay, I understand." Junling felt a little powerless. He originally thought that he was one step closer. Zhou Tao said that he would consider accepting his pursuit. But now, it seems that he has returned to before liberation overnight. Zhou Tao's attitude towards him is a little alienated and a little distant. Be on guard. He understands that any female star who experiences such a thing will definitely have lingering fears and will be more cautious about her words and actions. He is a popular male star. In the final analysis, he needs the support of fans and reaps the dividends from fans. At present, he has not revitalized the Jun family, nor has he completely successfully transformed into a powerful actor. He is not yet willful enough to ignore his fans. He could only say, "Our TV series will participate in some promotional activities during the summer vacation. Will you attend?" "Of course, that's my job." Junling nodded, "That's good. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me." Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 948. During this meeting, Junling clearly felt a slight sense of resistance in Zhou Tao. He was helpless, but he didn't want to push her too hard, which would only make her retreat further and escape from his world. The days are long, and he wants to use time to slowly influence her. His desire for success is also stronger, and his desire to make a comeback for his family is also more urgent. When Junling left Nanqiao Company, the car just left the yard and was stopped in front of Huihe Company. He put on his sunglasses and said nothing. His cousin Huang Xian opened the car window and asked, "Is something wrong?" "The boss of our company wants to talk to Mr. Jun." Huang Xian glanced at Junling in the rearview mirror, and Junling turned to look out the window at the 3-story Baroque-style building. They are all entertainment companies on Bihai Road. Of course he knows how powerful the Huihe Company is, which has just settled in. It seems to be a large foreign conglomerate with abundant funds. And he runs his own studio and is not restricted to any entertainment company, so he is considered a free agent. So, 5 minutes later, Junling appeared in Huihe's office, and the person who received him was Teresa. Junling is handsome and can be regarded as a first-tier traffic niche in the circle. His acting skills, appearance, and fan appeal are all top-notch. From time to time, economic companies offered him olive branches, but he rejected them all. The conditions offered by those people were not enough to move his heart. Teresa sat elegantly on the sofa and asked someone to make a cup of coffee for Jun Ling and bring it in. Our boss has noticed Mr. Jun's performance in the entertainment industry and appreciates Mr. Jun very much. Jun Ling, so you are not the boss? Teresa smiled. No, it's rare for the boss to come to the company. I'm currently in charge here. Jun Ling frowned. Then you should know that my mother runs a studio by herself and is very free. I have the final say on what films I want to take on and what films I don't want to take on. Teresa said slowly, if you sign with our company, you will get the highest priority to choose the script. Every year, we will help you receive a theater movie with a first-line director and a high-quality TV series that can be starred in. Appear in the men's and women's magazines of first-tier magazines at least twice, and advertise for at least 2 first-tier brands. You do not need to participate in some platform activities, and you can also choose variety shows. Jun Ling raised an eyebrow slightly. This resource is indeed very attractive. And he also believes that Huihe company has such strength. I heard that the rich boss is inhumane. There is nothing in this world that money cannot buy. In terms of remuneration, the price you will be paid for a movie will not be less than 20 million, and the salary for a single episode of a TV series will not be less than 300,000. Jun Ling tapped his fingers lightly on the table. Huihe was indeed rich and more generous than any company that had approached him before. But he still didn't speak. Teresa added, in addition, I heard that Mr. Jun's family also has an electronic equipment company. Jun Ling's eyes finally lit up. Teresa smiled and said, our boss wants to inject capital into your company. Jun Ling tightened her grip on the coffee cup. What's your boss's name? You can call him Mr. William. Why does Mr. William want to invest in my company? His company has not gone bankrupt, but it has gone from being a leading domestic company to recovering now with an annual net profit of only 1 million yuan. Not as good as before. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 949. I won't beat around the bush with you. My husband is not interested in your company, but I know that if he wants to sign you, he must inject capital into your company at the same time. Therefore, sir, I raised 400 million in the first round of financing. Mr. Sir, can you consider signing a contract with Huihe now? Jun Ling was trembling in his heart for a moment. It was considered that his long-cherished wish had come true, but he didn't show it too much on his face. He only said to Teresa, can I think about it? Teresa smiled, of course you can consider it. The decision-making power rests with Mr. Jun, but our husband really appreciates Mr. Jun, so I hope Mr. Jun can give our company a chance. His posture was also low, showing utmost respect. No artist can refuse such an attractive offer. After all, the people in the public relations department said that this Jun Ling was the only one who could compete with Lu Su and Dong Yao from Nanqiao Company. The husband's goal is to kill Wen Qiao. Of course, he doesn't mean to kill her, but to kill her industry. If she brought Fu Nanli in to deal with him together, that would be his wish. Then let them die together. Because Lu Su's film was shortlisted for the Golden Plum Award, Lu Yuyu prepared another dinner at Beiyin Tower. Wen Qiao naturally brought Fu Nanli with him. Tong Wei has now joined the crew again, and the director is Fu Nanli's cousin Chu Qinju. Director Chu is young, but he is extremely strict. It is unimaginable to join his crew until the filming is finished. So Tong Wei was unable to attend the celebration party. Wen Qiao told Fu Nanli, let Chu Qinju not be so strict with Tong Wei. I called Tong Wei that day and saw her eyes were red. I asked her what was wrong and she said it was okay. Then I asked her assistant, it was said that on the set, in front of hundreds of people, Tong Wei was trained to death. I really didn't realize that when Chu Qinju was in front of them, she seemed to be a very kind person, but when she started working, she turned into a completely different person. Fu Nanli glanced at her. Isn't it bad to be strict? Haven't you heard that a strict teacher will produce a good apprentice? Tong Wei is still a newcomer. Although she has been nominated for the Golden Lion Award, there is still a lot of room for improvement in her acting skills. Qinju will give her a polish, which is a good thing for her acting career. Wen Qiao sighed, "Little boy, just try it out in the hands of the big devil for 3 months, I won't be able to save you." After everyone sat down, the door opened again, and Lu Wenzhou came in. Lu Su touched his nose. His second brother was coming, how could he not dare to disobey him? Wen Qiao showed no expression. The second master now likes to come uninvited. Is there something wrong with him? Lu Yuyu came up to her and whispered, "Did Mr. Lu find out that Zhou Tao got better after the divorce?" Wen Qiao chuckled and said nothing. The true fragrance theorem seems to be invincible. Wen Qiao coughed lightly, "Don't talk about this outside." Lu Yuyu covered her mouth. "Oh." Zhou Tao showed no expression and sat down next to Fang Duo. Fang Duo was chattering and didn't even notice the undercurrent on the scene. Fang Duo, second master Lu, is very kind to his younger brother. He came to attend the screening and now the celebration party. I heard that he is very busy. He always takes time out of his busy schedule. The brotherhood is really good. Lu Yuyu. Wen Qiao. This kid is really going to be fooled to death by himself one day. Zhou Tao picked up the lemonade on the glass turntable and washed the tableware. The waiter helped her remove the washed lemonade, and then asked her softly, "Would you like red wine or a drink?" Zhou Tao, "A little red wine." Everyone was chatting hotly at the dinner. Fu Nanli and Lu Wenzhou are both the best entrepreneurs in their respective fields. Even if they don't like each other, they don't openly quarrel with each other. They occasionally chat about things in the mall without knowing it. People who looked at her thought they had a good relationship. Moreover, there is Lu Su in the middle, so now they can give each other some face. Zhou Tao was the only one who remained silent. She was too lazy to speak and just ate her food. Fang Duo leaned over and whispered, "Why haven't you spoken?" Zhou Tao, "I don't know what to say." Fang Duo, "Do you think Mr. Lu is handsome? Many of the little sisters in my crew are obsessed with him. They say he is tied with Mr. Fu as the most handsome second-generation rich man. It's really a matter of which pot should not be opened." Zhou Tao forced a smile, "I think it's just like that." Fang Duo clicked his tongue and said, "Your vision is too high. Mr. Lu doesn't look good like that." Zhou Tao's head was buzzing, and her attitude was a little perfunctory. "I'm going to the bathroom. Want me to go with you?" "No." Not long after Zhou Tao left the private room, Lu Wenzhou also went out. The banquet was busy, and no one paid attention to him going out. Zhou Tao went to the bathroom and patted her face with cold water. She looked at herself in the mirror. Her cheeks were slightly red, but she looked like she was wearing makeup. In fact, when she wasn't filming or attending events, she basically looked barefaced. There was an inexplicable emotion in her cold eyes. She didn't like herself like this. She should be more indifferent. It was raining outside, and water columns were reflected outside the bathroom window. Zhou Tao breathed out softly. As soon as he left the bathroom, he saw a tall figure coming out of the bathroom opposite. She immediately walked into the corridor, with Lu Wenzhou following closely behind. When passing a private room, the waiter came out and the door of the private room opened a crack. Zhou Tao saw a familiar figure from behind. It was Junling. "Brother, do you really like Zhou Tao? I see that you rushed back in a hurry before you finished your work in Europe. Isn't it to help her clarify and apologize to her?" Zhou Tao couldn't help but stop when she heard her name. Then I heard Junling sneer, How many times have I told you, how could I like her? This chapter is 1,700 words long. Thanks to Blue Flame, annoying, we are closed today. Think about it, Amwicammed, modern world. Beauty, user 003167242181, Yang Guang. For the reward, thank you. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 950. At that moment, Zhou Tao thought she had heard wrongly. Her legs were a little weak due to drinking, and she stretched out her hands to support the wall. Lu Wenzhou wanted to reach out to help her, but he avoided her without leaving a trace, and tried his best to hold onto the wall. The people in the private room were not aware of it and continued, I told you, I just want to get to know Mr. Wen through Zhou Tao, and then meet Mr. Fu to revive my Jun family. Zhou Tao's face turned pale. She thought it was ridiculous. Fortunately, she believed that Jun Ling was sincere to her. Fortunately, she seriously considered whether to accept Jun Ling's pursuit. It turned out that those were all lies, turned out to be lies, and she was tricked by Jun Ling. Then why are you in such a hurry to come back? I thought you felt sorry for her because your fans threw paint on her. I just came back to stabilize her, don't make random guesses. Zhou Tao clenched her fists and couldn't breathe smoothly. Such a man with ulterior motives had been lurking beside her for such a long time. He bought her stomach medicine, bandaged her wounds, and cared about her. Everything was done with purpose. She didn't want to listen anymore, so she walked forward. Lu Wenzhou saw that her face turned pale and her whole body was trembling slightly. Knowing that she was angry, he wanted to reach out to help her. Zhou Tao said, don't touch me. Lu Wenzhou retracted his hand. There were people coming and going here. She had just been freed from the whirlpool of public opinion. He could not let those public opinions revive again. Her voice attracted the attention of the people in the private room. Jun Ling's face darkened, and he stood up immediately, staggering a little, and chased outside. When he saw Zhou Tao leaving in a hurry, he panicked. Did she hear everything he just said? It was useless to say anything now. He could imagine how devastated Zhou Tao would be when she heard what he just said. He stepped forward quickly. Zhou Tao walked very quickly and went straight downstairs without going back to the private room. At the elevator entrance, Jun Ling finally caught up with her, but Mr. Lu stood in front of her, directly blocking his idea of approaching Zhou Tao. He suddenly became clumsy and tongue-tied. Zhou Tao, did you hear just now? Zhou Tao's eyelashes are very long and a little damp at the moment. She is not sad, she just feels that she is too stupid and has been fooled like a fool for so long. Jun Ling doesn't like her at all, everything is a scam. She was first rejected by Lu Wenzhou, and then deceived by Jun Ling. She was really not a kind person. She lowered her eyes and said indifferently, I heard it. Jun Ling's heart sank. If I say that I am just talking in front of my cousin, do you believe me? He wanted to slap himself when he said this. How can others believe this? Zhou Tao looked up at him, with tears still hanging on her long eyelashes. She smiled, her eyes slightly moist, I don't believe it. Jun Ling clenched his fists, his eyes filled with annoyance. When the elevator arrived, Zhou Tao got in as if running away, her fingers trembling slightly as she kept pressing the close button. Lu Wenzhou finally entered the elevator with her and stood at the elevator entrance. Jun Ling could not follow her. The elevator door closed, Zhou Tao folded her arms and lowered her head. She did not look at Lu Wenzhou and kept her distance from him. She went from the third floor to the first floor very quickly. She put down her long hair to cover it a little, and then quickly walked through the atrium lobby of the hotel and exited the door. It was raining outside, so she didn't care about anything else. She walked through the courtyard and onto the roadside. Lu Wenzo followed. I'll ask my driver to take you back.